It seems like we spend our whole lives in our classrooms, but actually we only spend a short time with our students. So that's why before and after school instructors are so important. The purpose of our time together is to show how important these instructors are to our inner city students, the students that we work with. During our minutes together, I will explain some important things about before and after school instructors. First, I'm going to show you some disturbing statistics. Then I'm going to break down the hours in a day for the average student. And the last, I'm going to talk about some opportunities that before and after school instructors have for interacting with people in a way that God values. Let's take a closer look. The National Center for Education Statistics puts out a report every 2 years. This report is taken from the 2013 report card. And they test students that are in the 4th grade, the 7th grade, and the 12th grade. They test in reading and math, but because reading is my passion, we're going to talk about that. Now, of these students who come from all over the United States, Asian students, we'll look at them first. 20% of them read below the basic level. And white students, 21% read below the basic. Here's a jump to 47% of Hispanic students read below the basic level. American Indians, 49% read below level. But our people, our black students, 50% read below the basic level. So if we go to just the basic level, 80% of Asian students read at the basic level, 79% of whites, 53% of Hispanic students, 51% of American Indian students, but once again, 50% of black students can read at a basic level. Now, what about a proficient level? 51% of Asian students read proficiently. 46% of whites read at the proficient level. 21% American Indians, 20% of Hispanics read at the proficient level, but only 18% of black students can read proficiently. There is a problem here, which brings me to my second point. Now, I added all the hours in a year together, which came up to 8,760 hours. The average student is awake for 5,110 hours per year. That's based on the student who's awake from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Of these hours, students are asleep usually about 3,650 hours a year. Now, of the 5,110 hours that a student is awake, they only spend 1,281 hours in school. That's only 25% of their waking hours. So, if the average student is awake for 5,110 hours and they're only with us for 1,281, what's going on with the other 3,829 hours? Well, that's the key. What happens in those hours actually determine the type of reader a student will be. Which brings me to my last point. After-school instructors are important and present opportunities to interact with people in a way that God values. God values impaired human life. Matthew 14:14 says, "And Jesus went forth and saw a great multitude," that could be our people, our students, "and was moved with compassion toward them." Matthew 15:30 says, "And great multitudes came unto him, having with them those that were lame, blind, dumb, maimed, and many others. That's where our illiterate students would fall in, the many others. After-school instructors put value into helping those whose lives are impaired. People who cannot read will have impaired lives. So to put it all together, low reading scores prove that our students only have a 50-50 chance just to be able to read. And this is disturbing to us because we give them our all when we have them, but we only have them for 25% of their waking hours. So that's why before and after school instructors and summer program educators are so important. They have the opportunity to do something that God values by helping those who have impaired lives. On the first day of school, I asked my students to raise their hands if they'd read a book this summer. Only 3 of them raised their hands, and they had not read an entire book. So there is a great need for before and after school and summer program directors who will provide our children with literacy-rich opportunities. Thank you.